There's something living in my mirror. It started with my reflection, blinking before I did. At first, I thought I was just tired. But then it smiled at me when I wasn't smiling back. A few months ago, I moved into this new apartment. It's downtown, big city. I got a good deal. I was excited. But the place has a bit of a weird vibe. I couldn't put my finger on it. Then I noticed the mirror. It's old, antique. It came with the apartment. I looked in it every day and it seemed off. I tried to convince myself it was just me. Maybe I hadn't slept enough. Maybe I was still jet-lagged. I can't tell. You know, when you stare too long at a screen and your eyes are playing tricks on you? I figured it was something like that. I don't know why, but I liked the mirror. I'm a pretty private person, but I always felt connected to myself in a weird way. I would stare at myself for hours sometimes. I used to think it was kind of weird. But then I stopped caring, and then it started moving. Not a lot. I could barely notice it at first, just slightly out of sync. Like if I blinked, it would blink a second later. If I turned my head, it would turn its head a second later. It always happened right after midnight. One time I saw it smile. It didn't take a big smile, but it was enough to make me jump back in surprise. I don't think I blinked. Or maybe I didn't see it move. I couldn't tell, but it made me question my own senses. If it was happening during the day, I wouldn't have questioned it. But it was always right after midnight, when I was half asleep, and so I told myself it must have been a dream. I thought about it, and I couldn't tell if it was a dream or not. That's the scary part about it. I can't tell. I can't tell if any of this is real. I'm not sure why I started recording. I guess I wanted proof. To see if I was crazy. The footage is shaky because I was holding my phone like this under the door frame. And it looks worse because of how bad the lighting is in there. But something happens. There's definitely something moving around in there. But when I play it back, I can't tell. All I see is darkness. What I saw in the mirror was darkness. So I deleted it. I figured I'd rather not know. Then one night I turned around and it didn't. I turned to the mirror and it didn't follow. I wasn't scared yet. I was curious. I kept staring. I thought it might do something. Anything, but all it did was stare back. At first it didn't do anything. I stood there awkwardly staring. Then it slowly began to walk away. It kept its back towards me, and it walked away from the mirror. It went into the glass. It went into the dark corner of the glass, and I couldn't see it anymore. You know, when you're listening to someone and they say something funny, but it's really awkward. You don't want to laugh, but you're already smiling. That's exactly what it sounded like. A scream, but really more like a screech. It lasted less than a second. It was high-pitched and it echoed slowly. Like if someone were to scream in a big cavern. It was really weird. The next day, I looked everywhere. I tore apart the apartment. I wanted to see if there were any other mirrors, anything else that reflected, but there wasn't. Then I found the news article. This was 5 years ago. Tenant went missing in the same apartment. Last known object moved was the mirror. I should have read these things before I signed the lease. Then I learned he had a name. His name was Malcolm. He was an occult practitioner. He lived here 5 years ago. He disappeared. Some said he sold his soul to the devil. Others said he became one with the universe. I don't know. Those are the two popular rumors. He left behind some books and journals. I looked through them. I couldn't understand them. They weren't written in any language I knew. I took it out back. There was a pentagram carved into the wood. I scratched it out. I didn't want those things in my house. There were symbols I recognized. They're called sigils. I've seen them before. People use them to trap spirits. I don't believe in that stuff, but what if it's true? I tried to focus on the mirror. I wanted to see something. It didn't move. It just stared back. After a while, I lost interest. I went to sleep. I woke up the next morning and I saw it smiling. It was grinning ear to ear. Then it started breathing heavily. When I finally worked up the courage to look again, it was gone. I smashed the mirror once with a hammer. I expected shards, glass everywhere, but there were none. I felt something wet on my hand. I looked down and I saw blood. It was coming from the mirror. I hit it again. This time, cracks spread across the surface, but it kept smiling. It smiled with a cracked face. It was dark inside the mirror. It was looking at me, and then it said, "That was your only window." I don't remember anything after that. The next thing I remember is waking up on the floor. I don't know how long I was out. I must have hit my head hard. I don't remember much. I tried to get up, but something was on top of me. I pushed it off. It was a book. I looked up. Someone was standing over me. He asked if I was okay. I sat up. I had blood on my hands and on my clothes. I was covered in glass. The apartment was trashed. The walls were covered in sigils. The place looked like a war zone. He said, "Are you sure you're okay?" I could tell he thought I was crazy. I didn't blame him. I looked at his face. He was scared. He said, "Do you need help?" I tried to speak, but no sound came out. I looked down at my hands. They were shaking. I couldn't talk. He said, "You need to get out of here." I wanted to ask where he was going, but I couldn't. I tried to speak. Nothing came out. He picked up the book and threw it to the ground. He stepped on it. Then he picked up the hammer and smashed the mirror completely. Glass fell everywhere. Shards were flying. He said, "Let's get out of here." I looked in the mirror one last time. There was a face in the glass, but it wasn't mine. I saw a man. I don't know who he was. He had a name, but I forgot it. He was the one who lived here before. He disappeared 5 years ago. The only thing left behind was the mirror. Would you look into that mirror again? Comment if this gave you chills. Subscribe if you want to know what happened to the next tenant.